Well, we're back at the tank. The tadpoles have settled in for a few days now, and they could be getting hungry, so now it's time to feed them for the first time. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to be feeding them spinach today. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a nice big spinach leaf, and we're going to take some boiling water. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the boiling water to soften up the leaf a little bit. All we need to do is just put it into the boiling water just for a few seconds. That will soften the leaf because they only have very small mouths, and it's sometimes the spinach leaves can be a little bit tough for them to chew on. But you just kind of soften it just for a few seconds. That's all it needs. It's now a lot softer. I'm going to cut it up into small pieces and then just float it out to the surface of the tank. Okay, now that should be enough to keep them going for a couple of days. Now, judging by the amount of tadpole poo there is in the tank, they have been eating already, so they've been eating these plants that are in there already, so they may not even really need this. But there are quite a lot of tadpoles in there. There are 41, as you saw last episode, and so you definitely want to make sure that there is enough food for them to be going with. Now, it's probably going to take them a little while to notice that it's there, so we might not be able to see them straight away, but hopefully we'll be able to catch them eating very, very shortly.
So while we're waiting for the tadpoles to find their food, let me show you this. We found this caterpillar floating in the pond, and my daughter here rescued it. Now, I'm not an expert in caterpillars, and in the UK there are over 2,600 species of butterfly moth, so identifying them is a bit of a challenge. But I had a look at some pictures online and I found one that looked similar. It might not be the one, but for now we'll go for it. It looks similar to the caterpillar of the large yellow Underlain moth. It's one of the most common moths to be found in Britain, and can also be found in North America, even as far north as Canada and Alaska. Eggs of this species are laid in neat batches of 200 to 300 and hatch out after 10 days. The caterpillars feed on dandelion, dock and grasses, which we have plenty of out here by the pond. They feed mostly at night, spending most of the day under the soil or amongst the roots of plants, so either I've misidentified it, which is quite likely, or it got lost and fell into the pond. At night they bite through stems of young plants and leaves close to the base of the plant before dragging them down into a tunnel in the soil or leaf litter to eat. Pupation takes place just below the surface of the soil between May and July, when the dark red pupae are often exposed by gardeners. The adult moth emerges in 10 to 20 days when they are attracted to light in large numbers and will also feed on sugary substances. So while we're out here by the pond, let's have a look at the tadpoles. As you can see, there are thousands now, all freely swimming around. Many of them are crowding together, feeding off the algae growing up the sides of the pond liner. It's a sad fact that the numbers will drastically shrink over the coming weeks, as more and more will get eaten by birds, newts, dragonflies, a whole host of predators. As I said in previous episode, out of the 2,000 or more eggs a single frog will lay, only around 5 will survive to become an adult. Okay, so let's return to the tadpoles in the tank, because as you can see, some of them have found the spinach leaves. They will swim around like this, munching on the edges of the leaves. It can be quite a sight when one leaf is surrounded by a whole bunch of tadpoles. Well, that about wraps up this week's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know some of you at home are following along with your own tadpoles. If you are, I'd like to remind you that you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook, where you can send me some pictures of your progress. I would love to see it, and perhaps I could feature some of your pictures in future episodes. You can also join my Discord server, and you could become a Patreon. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you next week for some more Frog Watch. Goodbye.